us. This is our Week 6 show for TNT, Coleridge and Football's Thursday night tailgate. We're coming to you a little early this week. Going to get a jump on the action. And, boy, halfway through it already. Kind of hard to believe.
Yeah, we are. We're officially over the hump, I guess, because it is the following week. And we'll start the second half of the season this week. And, right now everything's kind of where we expect it to be, I think, as far as the AFL goes. And, we still have some teams in the middle of the pack that we'll talk about a little later. But so far, no real big surprises other than maybe Jim Thorpe being undefeated. Probably the biggest, I don't want to call it surprise because they're good. But, if there's a surprise this year, I think so far it's Jim Thorpe being undefeated.
I think it showed what everybody thought in the beginning. The league's pretty deep. I think that we thought those first 7 or 8 teams, were all going to be pretty decent, and they have been so far. Mm-hmm. With the exception of Schuylkill Haven, I think everybody's kind of played to what the potential. I think Tamako maybe we thought at the beginning of the year that they were going to be a little down considering they had a freshman quarterback, and we didn't know how the passing game was going to be, but they're playing great defense. Like we knew they were going to play, and they're beating the teams they need to beat. Mm-hmm. So I think, like Coop said, everything's where we thought it would be. All those 6, 7, 8 teams we thought could, be good are all pretty good and are all in contention for a playoff spot. So yeah, things have gone simply the way we thought they were going to.
So we're going to get right into the Week 5 recaps. As always, we got one team going out of league. This week it was Lehighton. And boy, what a game over in Lehighton. If you went there to check out that one, you got to see not only Lehighton, who's been playing very well this season, but also one of the best teams in the state in Governor Mifflin. Lehighton kids battled, but Governor Mifflin a bit too much. They come out on top 35-13.
Yeah, Governor Mifflin's just run game was tough. Jan Johnson, I mean, he ran the ball well. Governor Mifflin doesn't do anything fancy. They run the ball right at you, and I think they were just more talented than Lehighton. But Tom McCarroll, after the game, he had some great comments for his team. He thought they battled. Mm-hmm. They didn't by any means get blown out. I mean, the score was 35-13, but they played hard. They matched the physicality of Governor Mifflin. But when you have that many athletes, that many caliber guys, especially Division I talent, and Johnson who's going to Akron at quarterback and middle linebacker, it's going to be tough to compete with that. So I think Lehighton did what they wanted to do. They wanted to play solid. They didn't want to get blown out or embarrassed. They matched the physicality, and I think that's something they can build on moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they came off with back-to-back games with North Schuylkill and Blue Mountain, and they're bye week. They decided they're going to play Governor Mifflin. So, hats off to them for taking on the challenge, and like I said, they played well, and they showed they're a good football team.
Yeah, and the way the new point system works, and it's no sense in going through that unless we have a bunch of people out there with doctorates in mathematics who are watching right now. But it actually, playing a team like Governor Mifflin will, even with the loss, it does help. So we'll see how that plays out as the year goes on. But once again, Governor Mifflin comes into Lehighton, wins 35-13. Next, we're heading over to Tamaqua, Panther Valley at Tamaqua, and things could not have gone worse for the Panthers. Tamaqua, they jumped out right from the start, had an interception on the first possession, and had a few quick turnovers that they turned into a short field and turned into points, and Tamaqua rolled 41-zip. So Tamaqua, we talked about them getting back on track. Certainly looks like that's the case. They're now at 3-2. PV, we've seen 2 completely different teams so far this year. We've seen the team that played Haven and Monterey and Shenandoah, and then we've seen the team against Marion and Tamaqua, and they've been completely different. So where do we go from here?
And that's that's the main thing with the Panthers. They got to figure out who they're going to be. Obviously you're going to play tough games. Are you going to lay down when you're playing a tough game, or are you going to step it up and play a little bit harder? And coming off of that win against Shenandoah and then to turn around and have this kind of performance just has to be disheartening for, especially for the coaching staff, because you think you're getting your program you want it to be, and then they had a few injuries, few illnesses, whatever it may be, some key players that didn't play, and it hurt them. But overall, you just need a better effort. You have to.
We talked about it. I said if Panther Valley wanted a chance in this game, chance to even be competitive, they couldn't turn the ball over, because we knew Tamaqua would take it and pound the football and protect their lead, and that's what happened. I mean, they turned the ball over too many times, and every time they did, Tamaqua took advantage. And anytime you turn the ball over against Sam Bonner, you're not going to win.
Mm-hmm.
You're really not. And Panther Valley did that, and like Coop said, I think the effort. I mean, 41. I mean, my problem is, and I've talked about this all week, is look at 2 rivals, the the games.
Yeah.
Marion and Tamaqua. 50-something and 40-something.
Yeah.
That's not something you want to see out of your football team against two neighboring rivals.
And you know, Coach Dave said it after the game. He said, you know, it was nice to see a couple kids that you know, really played hard the whole game, but it was disheartening was the word he used. And you know, I know it just as a odd, you know, we've been upfront about where we're from, you know, and you know, I'm obviously from PV, and you know, it was disheartening to see some of the effort. The lack of effort, we should probably say. You know, but enough of that though. On the other hand, Tamaqua, they're 3-2 now.
Yeah.
And Tamaqua's, you know, you think about it, you prepare all summer with, you know, Thad Zuber ready to go quarterback, and then boom, game one, you got to make that change. They're adjusting. And the one thing we always know is Tamaqua's going to be tough. They're going to be physical. You know, those kids. Hey, that's what the weight room does. You look at Tamaqua and you see it paying off.
Sure.
And you know that's keeping them. You know, kept them afloat for a week or two while they figure things out. You know, and here they go. They're going to have an opportunity to right now going into the second half of the season really do some big things.
Even if you're not playing well and you're still out there making plays and hitting people, you're gonna get better. And I feel like that's what Tamaqua does. Even in those games, even in those games that they didn't play well, they were still out there running around 100%, flying around, hitting people. You know what I mean? And I think that's the difference between Panther Valley and a team like Tamaqua right now. You know, Panther Valley's not playing well. It's everything's not working for them. Right. If somebody like Tamaqua's not playing well, it could just be a talent thing. It could just be a missed assignment or something like that. But it's never they didn't hit you in the mouth. You know, they're always gonna hit you in the mouth. You know what I mean? So I think that's the difference right now. I think that's what Coach Davis is obviously shooting for.
You know, and I think you look at Tamaqua, and you know, I know we've talked about it a few times with Coach Bonner, but I mean, you can't say it enough. It is a mindset.
Yeah.
And you look at where Tamaqua's football program was for the, you know, say 12 years before Coach Sam Bonner was there, and you look at them now, and the kid, you can't say the kids are that much different, but the mindset's totally completely different. You know, you could tell obviously the commitment in the weight room is different, and you know it pays dividends on Friday nights for them. So Tamaqua gets a big win, rivalry game, shutout 41-zip, and it moves them to 3-2, moving into the second half of the season. Moving on, we got Shenandoah traveling to Minersville. We said last week that both of these teams had to be pretty excited about this game. Somebody's walking away with their first win, and you know, we talked about a little bit of the shift of philosophy for Minersville and how they were kind of doing things a bit differently. Seems to be paying off. They got a shutout win, 21-zip.
Yeah, Minersville did what they did. They played strong defense and they ran the ball a lot, you know, and that's what they were going to do. I mean, that's what Pat Mason said they were going to go back to. That's what we expected them to do going in, and it paid off. They went back to old school Minersville football, and it looks like now they have that identity we've all been talking about that they need to find, you know. And for Shenandoah, you know, they just got to keep plugging. I mean, that's about it. You know, they don't have the numbers. I think they dressed like 23 kids last week.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, 23 kids.
That's tough.
That's really tough. So, I mean, they're just trying to keep their heads above water and finish out the season and, you know, make their town proud. And, you know, anytime you have that amount of kids and you're still playing games and you're hustling and working hard, I think you are. So, you know, Minersville hopefully can build up this, maybe steal a win or two down the stretch now with this new not new Smash Mouth style, but old new Smash Mouth style. And Shenandoah just try to keep their head above water and play as hard as they can.
Yeah, Minersville's coming off the the nice showing that they had against Monterey. And
It was a very nice showing.
Played a tough game. Their defense, has been beaten up a little bit this year. Against quality teams nonetheless. So to come in here, for them to throw a shot out the way they did, and we were expecting a kind of a back and forth nip and tuck game, and instead Minersville came out and took control of it and dominated the game, and held Shenandoah under 50 yards of total offense, forcing turnovers. So great job, great win. And like I said, now they have 2 solid weeks in a row that they can start to build on and try to finish out the season.
All right, next we got North Schuylkill, the preseason league favorites. They went to Monterey and took care of business, 49-7. North Schuylkill's rolling. What can you say?
Yeah, and it's the same as week in, week out. The gaudy offensive numbers, 43 points in the first half, I think it was, close to 400 yards by halftime. I believe Rapinski was close to 300 again on the game, and a lot of those guys didn't even play in the second half. So
it's funny. If I wouldn't have known the scores and just went by message boards, I would have thought North Schuylkill's been losing.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get it. Everything what I'm seeing from North Schuylkill looks pretty darn good so far.
Oh yeah, they're unbelievable, and it's just like I said, they're just a machine week in and week out, and we were getting the score updates, and it was just it got out of control early. It was kind of like Mono's week 1 game with the Heighton. Things just kind of snowballed on them early, and Rapinski hit a big 95-yard run or something early in the game, I think, and. It was. We expect them to take care of business, probably not quite that easily, but when you come in, rolling the way they are, they're in great shape right now.
It's 43-0 at half. I mean, obviously, we talk about it every week, but it's important to talk about it because these guys up front never get enough credit, in my opinion. So we always try to give them plugs, and when that offensive line is playing the way that they're playing right now, you're not going to beat them.
I
don't care. I don't care. You're not going to beat them.
You're right. And we tweeted it out Friday. I mean, if you're looking for the most college prospects in a group of players in the Anthracite League, you go to North Schuylkill's interior line.
Yeah, sure.
They're
Division 3, Division 2.
There's where your college prospects are.
Exactly.
It's extremely impressive.
And then you can find a few of their skill positions.
Yeah.
So you can also find some there.
But they just blast people off the ball. I mean, and like I said, in the middle is what's most impressive because they're not running like toss traps or anything like that, fake or they're not running something as dynamic as say Jim Thorpe's offense or anything like that. They're just running. They're a simple pro style kind of offense where they're gonna hand it off, pound it, or then use play action on it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So their holes in the middle are Cadillac sized holes for these guys. And Rapinski, give him credit though because he's getting through, but then he makes people miss too.
Yeah.
But that line's great, and until somebody can prove that they can maybe push them around a little bit, no, I don't see anybody who can come and speed them.
And you can't put 8 guys in the box because you can't match up on the outside.
Exactly.
So they're a nightmare for defenses, and and they're proving it week in and week out.
All right, moving on. We had a big game in hometown, and boy, not only was it a big game, it was a great game. Came down to the wire. Mm-hmm. Blue Mountain coming in to play Marion, and it was a game that Blue Mountain absolutely needed for their playoff aspirations. The one dynamic of the Anthracite League now, you have 3A teams that can't afford to lose these games.
Right.
You have single A teams that really can't. When it comes to districts, they can't afford a loss here. So, that dynamic is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But Blue Mountain absolutely needed this one, and Marion had a few chances to put it away, and they didn't take advantage at that point. Blue Mountain saw an opening, took control at the very end, and Blue Mountain comes away with a big 17-14 win up in hometown.
Yeah, and their defense really stepped up late in the game, and Marion did it a couple of times where a couple first downs here and there. They probably could have run the clock out and and sealed the victory, but Blue Mountain's defense could come up with stop after stop, and they gave the ball back to Sean Greenwald with about 3 minutes left. He orchestrated a great drive, got the go-ahead touchdown, and they got the win. And also in that game, a 43-yard field goal that from Blue Mountain from Puzzy.
That looked like it could have been good for about 52 yards. You saw it on TV.
Yeah, I had to see it a couple of times this year.
Yeah.
The kid's a great leg, and he booms the ball. So you got a 43-yard field goal to give you a lead. At the time, Marion regained the lead, but without that field goal, we're talking about a 14-14 game that was in overtime. So great job all around by Blue Mountain and Sean Greenwald on that final drive.
I think Marion needs to get tougher. We talked about how good their defensive line was. I think they need to get tougher there now. I think that they showed against the primetime teams like North Schuylkill, Blue Mountain, who has a bigger line. That I think that's been the reason why I lost these last 2 weeks. So I think they need to get tougher there. I also think that Blue Mountain is kind of. I think Tamako and Blue Mountain are very similar teams in my opinion. Mm-hmm. They're gonna play great defense. They're gonna run the ball at you. They don't really have that one guy on offense that's gonna really beat you. I think their 2 main backs last week really didn't do much for them. It was their backup backs.
I don't even know if Dakota Roberts played last week. I didn't see his name anywhere in stats.
But Greenwald just makes plays for them. He extends plays. And,
he's a gamer.
Yeah, exactly. So he's just one of those guys, kind of like a Big Ben Roethlisberger type player. Like he always is getting hit and then spinning out of it and dumping it off for 6 yards and keeping them. To get a first down, it's just stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff he does.
Running with the ball, doing it with his legs. Yeah,
exactly. So I think Blue Mountain is right there again. They're doing what they have to do to keep their name in the District 11 playoff race, and they're winning games, and that was a big win for them. That they lost that game at Marion, that would have been it for them. So that was a big win for them.
They know they pretty much have to run the table to get in. 8-2 might be good enough, might not be good enough in 3A. So So their backs against the wall every week, and great comeback victory for them.
But I think Marion fans and coaching staff would really like to see their defensive line play better next week. Oh, and Matt Skornick got injured in that game too.
Yeah, do we know anything
No,
about that?
I mean I didn't hear anything. He had his knee wrapped, so they don't know if it was just he tweaked it and sprained. Anytime
Right.
that's never good when you have your knee wrapped, but it could just be a sprain or something. But they didn't say anything. It's only Monday, so they're not going to tell us what's going on with him yet. So.
And we talked about gauntlets a little bit. Marion in their streak.
Yeah.
Yes. Every team in the NFL has one.
Yeah.
Marion, Blue Mountain, and now the Heighton next
this week.
Yeah, so this week. So you talk about their defense getting tougher, but they have gone against probably the two best, and now the three best defense or offensive line.
Yeah.
They're going to face in consecutive weeks. So yeah, they'll have their hands full again.
All right, our game of the week. Undefeated, defending Anthracite League champs, Jim Thorpe, heading up to Schuylkill Haven. Cool.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it was. We were both there.
But we have to give kudos to Brad this week. He picked
Thank
the game
you.
of the week.
Thank you, guys.
We won against the Olympians, and
I'm back.
we were sure to jump on you when you were wrong.
no,
Yeah, I know.
he didn't say 2 touchdowns. He didn't say a block
No,
extra point,
I did.
but he'll take it. He'll take it.
I should have. That's how I wanted against them all.
Speaking of, Craig Zern. Now, the guy was a nightmare to prepare for when he played.
Yeah.
Just a few short years ago.
Yeah.
In any sport. And now here he is wreaking havoc with his special teams.
I know. Yeah.
They could be 3-2.
Yeah, I know.
Zern, great job. Jim Thorpe comes away with a big road win at Schuylkill Haven, 14-13. You guys were there?
Yep.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to Coach Rosenberger after the game, and it was actually a really good quote I had in the paper. He said that he's like, Coach Zern is always in special teams at practice. I'm trying to get out of special teams. I'm trying to get out of special teams, but he won't let me. He won't let me. And he says, but you know what? It's paid off twice for him.
Yeah.
It's one of his 2 games.
One more rep, right?
Yeah, Jim Thorpe, their defense is for real. I mean,
Yeah.
Schuylkill Haven was probably the healthiest they were all year for this game, and last year they went up to Jim Thorpe and handled them healthy. This year they put Fink in the backfield with Casella and Lozada at quarterback, and that's a lethal backfield right there.
Yeah, it's
and Jim
three
and Jim Thorpe gave them nothing. Their 2 scores, Schuylkill Haven, were on long pass plays, which the first one was legit. The second one, the kids from Jim Thorpe, I don't even know if they knew what was going on, but they were right there. They just didn't turn around and knock it down.
Yeah.
The tight end caught it over them. So Jim Thorpe really controlled that game, and then the block extra point won it for him, and then they made some big plays on the offensive end to keep the ball and keep the ball out of Schuylkill Haven's hands. But I mean, you were talking about Sam Bonner. You talk about Coach Rosenberger. I mean, the guy's been there, I think, 17, 18 years. People don't realize he's been there that long.
Yeah.
And he has 2 losing seasons in 18 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And they happen to be back-to-back losing seasons, and he had an all-state quarterback during all that time. So it's not like they, but they've come back so strong, and I don't think anybody expected them to come back this strong. And even in better status, this is their 11th win out of the last 12 Anthracite Football League games. So that shows you right there how they're ready to play some football here coming up.
Yeah, the big thing about that game was, right off the bat, Blue Mountain gets the ball, start the game. Schuylkill Haven gets the ball, start the game. Jim Thorpe forces the punt, and then they go on a 15-play drive.
15 play, 85 yards.
15 plays, 85 yards, and they punch it in on a 4th and goal.
Yeah.
Now you're up 7-0, and when you're on the road to get up 7-0 like that, everybody can relax, kind of breathe a sigh of relief. And so it was both of their touchdowns came on 4th and goal plays where they just flat out muscled it in there. And like I said, first time I saw them play live this year, and I wasn't really sure about who they played or what they were all about, but they're good. And the defensive line for Jim Thorpe was in the backfield all day. They really miserable for Casella and Fink, and overall impressive win. And the most impressive thing was when Schuylkill Haven did score, they missed the extra point, so it's still 14-13 with about 3.5 minutes left, I think it was, and Jim Thorpe just kept the ball, which made you think even if that extra point would have gone through, Jim Thorpe was going to find a way to get down there.
Oh yeah, because Howard could have scored, but he went down.
Yeah, he went down.
He ran the ball and he went right down. Because they didn't want to give Haven the ball back because it would have been only 8-point game. And with that offense, Casella only had 32 yards rushing.
Yeah. And on that last drive, everybody in that stadium that was there that night knew that the ball was going to go to Heller or Sisk was going to keep it himself.
Yeah.
There was 2 options, and they couldn't stop it. They just got it done. So.
Yeah, and you guys said going up there and you thought some crazy things were going to happen, which they did. But
Yeah.
that's an impressive victory up there because
It is a
Even-
very impressive victory.
even talking to Mike Farr after the game, he said, "Listen, we have the ability to be a good football team. He goes, we lost. He goes, the Monterey game, we wish you could have that one back. He goes, but we just played Mockland and Jim Thorpe, who are two soft football teams, tough.
Yeah.
He goes, he said, everybody knew that this league was going to be like going in. He goes, you knew you were going to lose some tough games. He goes, we knew that. He goes, now, like we've done the last couple of years, we got to go on a run.
Yep.
So that's what they're expecting to do up in Haven too.
And I just think they're at a point now where they're trying to figure themselves out. I mean,
Yeah.
last year it was easy. It was bread and butter. Casella's going to get the ball. He's going to run for 200 yards, and they're going to beat you. Now,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, they just can't get him going.
Yeah.
They're trying to put Fink back there with them now, and I just, he spent more time as lead blocker Friday night than he did as a ball carrier, and I'm just not sure what direction they're going to go in. Lozada looked good at quarterback.
Yeah, he
makes plays. Sometimes they'll bring Fink and still run quarterback, but see where they're going. But yeah, they are a good football team,
Yeah.
no doubt about that. But they got to get some W's.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, time to go on a run now because 2-3 currently on the outside looking in as far
Yes.
as the district playoffs go. So Jim Thorpe, defending ALL champs, stay undefeated, and that's a wrap for week 5. What we're going to do is take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to take a look at all the week 6 upcoming games.